Hello, hello. So I find this a really weird time to give a presentation because it's roughly 2 p.m. and most of the people, either they are thinking about a nap or maybe a coffee. And I'm giving a talk, let's say about not so complicated topic, the crossroads between cybersecurity and geopolitics. So I just hope you either enjoy the talk or at least get a good nap out of this. But before I get into it, I have to talk a little bit about the organization I'm working for. So I work for Deutsche Cyber-Sicherheitsorganisation. It was founded in 2015, so this year we are celebrating a 10-year anniversary. It was founded as a joint security effort between major German companies, including Allianz, BASF, Bayer, and I keep forgetting the fourth one. Volkswagen, yay, thank you, with government involvement. So it's a Berlin-based cybersecurity competence center, and we are a provider of various security solutions, including threat intelligence, my team, and incident response. It's also a forum for information exchange and discussion among various stakeholders. So a little bit about me. So I'm Kritika Roy. I'm a senior threat intelligence researcher, and my focus area is North Korea-linked threat activity. So just to get an idea, how many of you know a little bit about North Korea? A little bit more about North Korea? Okay, so I hope you will see a lot of North Korea-linked examples throughout the talk. So I hope you at least get some value. I have a background in tech and international relations, and I've been working with cybersecurity company for roughly 4.5 years now. So let's get started. So that's my agenda, and that's my driving theme. Why does geopolitics actually matter in cybersecurity? And let's be honest here. Like, cybersecurity today is not only tech. It is today driven by a lot of geopolitical forces, the tensions, the alliances. And I'm not just going to be talking about it, but also walk you through a real-world case that we solve within our organization. And yes, it had North Korea involvement. So last but not the least, what does this mean for future-looking cybersecurity teams? But also, what do we get in turn? So bringing it towards a full circle to understand what sort of capabilities or knowledge base we are looking at in the current roles, but also in the current cybersecurity teams. So jumping into the topic, why does geopolitics matter? Again, threat actors do not operate in vacuum. They just don't get out of the bed and throw a dart in the map and say, hey, that's the area I'm going to attack today. No, there's always something behind it. There could be a war brewing, maybe a sanctions regime, or maybe a tweet by a world leader that could have led to this particular threat operation. So often geopolitical context can potentially help explain why. But not only the why and the who, but also why this particular target? Why now? Understanding those motives is really, really important because context does not only help us to react to the logs, but also anticipate those threats to provide foresight. And context also enables smarter threat modeling and proactive risk prioritization. Now, I am going to give you an example. So let's say there's a cryptocurrency agency that was hacked. And we have not a lot of information about the threat activity. So we can always start with the single most, investigation point, thinking about it, maybe this could be North Korea-linked threat activity. But why North Korea? Because first, cryptocurrency agencies operate on a very murky regulations ground. Second, there are also some sort of low-hanging fruit. Third, North Korea needs money. First, for the regime. Second, for their weapons development program. And it makes sense to go for a cryptocurrency agency. But last but not the least, they are also been actually actively targeting a lot of cryptocurrency agency. And that's why it becomes a very interesting, crucial pivot point for research. So again, understanding geopolitics is not just helpful, it's actually half the battle won, especially when you're doing research. So, as promised, I'm going to actually walk you through an actual case study, and this is really interesting. So in early January 2025, we uncovered a malware. Now, for those who do not understand what a malware is, it's actually a malicious code written to target certain organizations, and it could always have a variety of purposes. For instance, siphoning off data, or like doing some sort of lateral movement, or doing reconnaissance activities, right? It was targeting a South Korean wind energy firm. And that firm name was Unison. Now you're like, yeah, but we are sitting in Germany. Why are we talking about a South Korean energy firm? Again, going back to the malware. The malware is interesting because it was already found a few years back targeting a German-based defense company that is called Diehl. Coming back to the story, the South Korean wind energy firm Unison. It has a little bit about the company itself. It has branches all over the world, including Japan and Ukraine. It also does a lot of research and development work, including roads, infrastructure building and development, and bridges. But the issue was, why is North Korea targeting a renewable energy firm? Like, what's the reason there? It does not have a lot of money, yes. It does not have a lot of like defense operations, because again, North Korea goes behind defense companies because of the knowledge, because it's trying to build a weapons development program. So there was this very much missing rationale. So we started digging deeper. In December 2024, a report came out that we read about, okay, North Korea in general is facing a very stark power shortage. But besides that, there was another report that talked about a regional development policy 2010. This particular policy itself is being taken care or monitored by the supreme leader himself, Kim Jong-un. And he's actually delegating a lot of military resources for this particular policy. What's the policy about? The policy is about actually developing cities within North Korea, making them self-sufficient, but also making them like energy intensive. They're able to operate on themselves, but they are able to modernize the countries. So that was the policy about. And they are investing money, but what do they need? They need intellectual property, they need knowledge how to do it. And what better than doing espionage? And that's why it was actually targeting Unison. But there's an interesting fact about cybersecurity incidents. Once a threat actor has access to your system, they don't only use that access during peacetime, but the same access is also used during wartime to create sabotage, to create disruption. There's another interesting fact about North Korea is South Korea currently is sort of testing ground for a lot of cyber campaigns that North Korea does. So if we see an operation happening in South Korea, we can always anticipate, or most of the time, I won't say always, sorry, most of the time we can anticipate that if it's happening in South Korea, at some point it's going to expand. It's going to move further across. It's going to be in Europe as well. And we actually, we called our customers, we said, hey, we saw this activity happening in the renewable sector. So if you are working with renewable sector clients, or you have customers in that sector, please be aware. Interestingly, in May 2025, BSI actually wrote an article saying they have observed renewable sector targeting, specifically from North Korea, but also other threat actors. And that's the beauty of it, the integration of geopolitics and cybersecurity. You have to understand what's happening in the world to make sense of cybersecurity landscape currently. This is also something in line with what China does. So China comes out with a white paper. Every 5 years, they have this white paper. They talk about developing a particular sector. And then during the same time, you can see a spike in cyber activities on those particular sectors that it may have mentioned in the white paper. Again, chances are this is not coincidence. This is a strategy that's being followed. So what does this mean? Every time I actually think about geopolitics and cybersecurity, I think about this picture, the parable, the blind man and the elephant. Everyone has a piece of truth, but nobody gets the full picture. And that's what cybersecurity looks like without geopolitics. To understand the full picture, you need to understand what your landscape is like, what's happening in the geopolitical world. It not only allows you to do the big picture thinking, but also help you identify a lot of critical pivot points. It helps you uncover cross-linkages. And I'll talk a little bit about the cross-linkages. Going back to the North Korean example again. In 2022-2023, Russia and North Korea actually signed a document called Comprehensive Strategic Document, wherein they started a collaboration, a military collaboration. But again, it was not just military collaboration, it was collaboration in other fields as well, including infrastructure development. A lot of high-stake leaders were meeting up together again, even in this year in June, they did a high-stake meeting. That's interesting because then we think about maybe both the countries are actually sharing information. And not only information about military security, but also within cyberspace, like what the threat actors are doing within the cyberspace, understanding the tactics, techniques, and procedures. So if North Korea gets within South Korean organization, that information can be shared with Russia, but also vice versa. And understand this, a lot of Russian threat actors target European organizations. And if they are able to share the same information with North Korean threat actors, then it's a major issue. So, but also it helps you promote foresight and adaptation, but also anticipation. So anticipating, but also understanding those trends that's happening, the collaborations, but also the fights. And we saw it even when the war happens in the last 5 years, be it the Russia-Ukraine war, be it the India-Pakistan war, or the Iran-Israel war. We saw a simultaneous rise in cybersecurity operations across countries, targeting psychological operations, information warfare. So, just to sum it all together, what does it mean? It means geopolitics actually helps to enhance decision-making. So it basically converts your isolated alerts into strategic insights. So it helps the defenders to protect, prioritize, but also predict some of these threat activity that's happening. So it matters for defenders, as I mentioned, for first threat prioritization, long-term planning, anticipating threats, but also using limited security resources more efficiently, understanding the patterns that's there, but also trying to make sense of a lot of linkages that happens between different threat actors, trying to understand the big four, namely China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran. So that's also a call to action from my end. Train for context, not just code. Expand threat modeling to actually include geopolitical understanding, but also make room at the table for the non-tech brains. That's irony there because we are in the tech conference asking to make room for non-tech brains, but that's what the beauty of cybersecurity is. It actually needs people. We have shortage of so many people, and we need people from different disciplines, including behavioral sciences, political sciences, natural sciences, because then we bring in a perspective, a way of thinking, being able to anticipate threats that we did not do before. And that allows you to make some sort of a team that is interested or doing strategic thinking, and that is what actually makes resilient teams different from reactive ones. And with that, I would like to say thank you all for such a nice audience. Bye.
You really, really took 14 minutes. It was 14 minutes. She said she timed it, and it's 14 minutes, and it was exactly 14 minutes. It's honestly kind of impressive. Does anyone have any questions? I can come to you. There's also questions. So many questions.
Thank you so much, very inspiring. My question is non-tech brain. I'm a non-tech brain. I'm a philosopher. What would you do with me?
Maybe, yeah. I think there's a lot to be done with there, because even I started doing geopolitics in like roughly 2 years back. I studied international relations. I was thinking about, okay, what can I do with this skill set? A very sparse background in tech, but more towards international relations. And when I started talking to people, and as previous presentations mentioned, network with people, talk with people, and you will understand where can I fit myself in that cybersecurity puzzle. I found my way, and I think some way you can also find. And I believe psychologists are an important actually aspect of cybersecurity, to understand the psychological aspect of threat actors and activity to stay ahead of them. Yeah. You?
Hi. I'm in a cloud, but kind of thinking like maybe to move. Hi. Maybe thinking also to move in the cybersecurity space. So, what is your suggestion? Where to start, and how quickly can adapt this in the industry?
So I think there are no quick fixes. We can always think that every learning is a process. So we start somewhere. If you have to start short, I think I would always suggest people to go for boot camps. That happens, talk to people. Network. I think it has been made clear in lots. Like, I talked to a lot of people. I got this job because I talked to a senior who was actually working there, and we discussed, hey, what are you doing? Oh, strategy, research. I find this interesting. How do I get into this? And that's how my journey started.
Any other questions? But the good thing is you're still here after this, right?
Yes. We also have a booth in case you still want to talk.
They have a booth, and she's at the booth, and there are other colleagues of you as well who can answer all the burning questions you have. Thank you so much again. Big applause for her, please.